Hi and welcome to English Grammar Made Easy with Fiona. Today we're looking at the simple past. The verbs that we will use are to be, to have, to do, to play and to go. I call these my main verbs because I think if you know these verbs and you know them in every tense, then you've always got something you can rely on to help you in any other sentence. So learn these off by heart, okay? So when do we use the simple past? Well, we use the simple past when we're talking about a completed action that happened before now, that means in the past, and we know when it happened in the past. For example, yesterday, in 1972, 2 weeks ago. So we know a definite time and whatever happened is completely finished and it happened in the past, i.e. before now. The duration is not important. We use it for saying simple truths that happened in the past. For example, he lost his keys. She went shopping. She played football. He got the bus home. And the simple past also emphasises that the action is finished. My students know that I'm a great fan of signal words or key words. These are words that help us understand which tense we need to use depending on the time that the sentence is using. For example, if you find the word yesterday in a sentence, we know we have to use the simple past tense. If you find a word tomorrow, then we know we have to use a future tense. So the signal words that we need to remember for the simple past are yesterday, last week, ago, or in 1945, for example. Now these are just a few, there are more, but these are the main ones, okay? So remember them. So how do we form the simple past? Well, we simply add ed, d, or ied, depending on the spelling. This is for a regular verb. For an irregular verb, now you're going to have to memorise these, and I advise that you learn them as quickly as possible because the more irregular verbs you know and the quicker you learn your irregular verbs, the easier the English language becomes. Okay, so I really recommend that you do that on a daily basis. But for a normal regular verb, we simply add d, ed or ied depending on the spelling. Now you're going to have to learn your spellings as well, and I also suggest that you read and read out loud because the more you read, the easier spelling becomes because your brain starts to automatically recognise words. Okay, so for irregular verbs, for example, the verb to go, we have go, went, gone. The second form of the verb is went. So the simple past of to go is went. And for a regular verb like to play, we simply add ed, played. Okay. Making the negative form and the question form of the simple past is similar to that of the simple present. We need the verb to do. The difference is we have to make the verb to do in the simple past. So whether I'm making a negative sentence or a question, I take the did form of the verb. Now it's really important to recognise here that you make the first verb into the simple past. So if I'm making a sentence to say, for example, if I said I went to school yesterday and I wanted to ask, did you go to school yesterday? We make the did the simple past and not the go. The go remains in the infinitive. Okay, so the more you practice, the easier this becomes. Basically, the negative form is I didn't go to school yesterday, or in this case, I did not eat bananas. I didn't eat bananas. The exception is the verb to be. The verb to be can make itself negative. I wasn't, we weren't, and it can ask questions. Were you, was I, was he, was she, was it? Here's an example of a negative sentence, I didn't play football. So it's using the verb to play. We make it negative using the verb to do in the simple past, i.e. didn't. So, I didn't play football, you didn't play football, he didn't play football, she didn't play football, it didn't play football, we didn't play football, they didn't play football, you didn't play football. Again, similar to the simple present, when we're forming questions using the simple past, we also use the verb to do in the simple past form, did. So we ask the question, did you, did I, why did you eat a banana? Did you eat a banana? What banana did you eat? Okay. Now we come to the verb to be. As I said before, the verb to be for me is the king of verbs in the English language, and you must learn this one off by heart in every tense form, okay? So the simple past version is I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, you were, they were. The verb to be can make itself negative and it can form its own question, so it doesn't need the verb to do or did in the case of the simple past. I wasn't, you weren't, he wasn't, she wasn't, it wasn't, we weren't, you weren't, they weren't. Was I, were you, was he, was she, was it, were we, were you, were they. It really is good advice to learn this off by heart, okay? Now we have the verb to have. I had, you had, she, he, it had, we had, you had, they had. When I'm forming the negative form, I need the verb to do in the simple past did. I didn't have, you didn't have, he didn't have, we didn't have, you didn't have, they didn't have. The same goes for the question, I need the did. Did I have? Did you have? Did he have? Did we have? Did you have? Did they have? Now, some of you may say, hey, I've seen have in a negative form, haven't, and I've also seen it in a question form, have I? But that is a different tense. Where the simple past is concerned, you must use did, okay? So when I'm using it for something that's finished in the past, and it has a time, so yesterday we didn't have school. Did you have school yesterday? Okay, you need the did. Now to the verb to do. The verb to do also needs the verb to do to make it sound negative and a question. So the verb to do in the simple past is did. I did, you did, he, she, it did, we did, you did, they did. And to make a question or a negative form, we also take did and do. So I didn't do, you didn't do, he didn't do, we didn't do, you didn't do, they didn't do. An example, I didn't do my homework yesterday. Question, did you do your homework yesterday? So you need the did and the do. Did I do? Did you do? Did he do? Did we do? Did you do? Did they do? Then we have a simple regular verb, the verb to play. We simply put ed at the end of it. I played, you played, he, she, it played, we played, you played, they played. And when I ask a question, again, I use the verb to do in the simple past form, did. I didn't play, you didn't play, he didn't play, we didn't play, you didn't play, they didn't play. Did I play? The question. Did you play? Did he play? Did we play? Did you play? Did they play? The verb to go is an irregular verb, one of those that I remind you must learn. You have to learn these off by heart. The verb to go in its simple past form is went. I went, you went, he, she, it went, we went, you went, they went. I went to school yesterday. Now, if I'm going to make this negative, then the verb to go remains go, and I use the verb to do in the simple past to make it negative. I didn't go, you didn't go, he didn't go, we didn't go, you didn't go, they didn't go. The same when I'm making a question. Did I go? Did you go? Did he go? Did we go? Did you go? Did they go? So I went to school yesterday. I didn't go to school yesterday. Did I go to school yesterday? So that was the simple past. Everything we need to know. All that's left for you to do is to practice. In order to learn English, you must practice. You have to use the tense. You have to add emotions to it. You have to put it into real life situations. I promise you, if you do this, your English will improve very quickly. If you want to know more tips and tricks, and if you need help finding where you can practice online, then go to learnenglishwithfiona.com, follow my blog, and it's packed with loads of advice on how to learn English. Enjoy learning English. And all that's left for me to say is never forget, repetition is the mother of skill. You must practice, practice, practice if you want to improve your English, because using the language will lead you to your success. Enjoy learning English.